Welcome back everybody. Thank you for watching another video. So I have a water leak somewhere on my property, and what tipped me off, like with most people, I saw a huge spike in my water bill. And what today's video is hopefully going to help people do is to isolate the different parts of your plumbing to help find a potential leak. Let's get started. Alright, so here is the disclaimer. I am not a professional plumber and I'm not recommending that you try any of this. Instead, it's just kind of an example of how you can use the valves in your plumbing system to turn them off and on and isolate different portions of your plumbing system to find potential leaks. If you're not comfortable turning valves off and on, please consult a professional. We're dealing with your house and water that can be extremely damaging and expensive if things go wrong. So again, if you're not comfortable doing any of this, consult a professional. Alright, here is a rough sketch of my property, and we're going to use this as a map, as a plan of attack to try to find this water leak. Now, step one, I think you should go straight to your water meter and your main shutoff valve. The main reason you want to do this is on the water meter, there is an indicator. Some people call it a leak indicator. Some people call it a constant flow indicator. Now, if nobody's using water on the property and that indicator is spinning, that could be a good indication that there is a leak somewhere on the property. Alright, let's do that. Let's go outside and have a look at that meter and see if that indicator is spinning around. Alright, before having a look at the water meter, I just want to recommend that every homeowner, if you have a house and your water meter is out on the sidewalk, you have to have these two tools together in your garage or some variation of them. The reason being is if something pops up in your house and you got water gushing out, you want to have these two together so you can just go out there and shut off your main valve, because sometimes your house valve is not going to shut it off. This will be your backup. Keep them together. This is just a pry bar with a curve on it. When you jam it in that cover, it's very easy to lift it. A lot of times they're very heavy. And I got a water key here because there's a lot of times that hole that the meter's sitting in is not big enough for you to get leverage to turn that valve around. If there's water rushing at you, you're going to try to turn it just a quarter turn, and it's not going to work. It's very difficult to turn those because they don't get used that often. So this is just a meter key, a water meter key. Right, I got the longer one on this side. You're going to put that right over the shutoff valve and just give it a quarter turn. Having these two together is going to make your life a lot easier in case of emergencies. If you want to pick something like this up, check out the links in the description below. To help support the channel, purchase it from there. We get a small commission. Let's have a look at the meter. Alright, here is my water meter. I'm going to take the pry bar and just jam it right in this hole. Lift it out of the way. Water is on and nobody in the house is using water. And we can see that that dial right here, this indicator, let me see if I can zoom you guys in here. See how it's spinning there? So what we're going to do now is shut the meter off, shut the valve to the house, and see if it stops. Alright, as we can see here, the indicator is still spinning slowly. So we're going to shut down the main shutoff valve just to make sure that this portion is working, and that should stop that indicator from moving. Let's do a quick quarter turn here. Yep, it stopped. So we know this shutoff valve is working. I'm going to turn it back on and send water up to the house shutoff valve. Alright, that was step one. We had a look at the water meter and we saw that indicator spinning. We shut the valve off and the indicator stopped spinning. Now we know that we have a shutoff valve that's working properly. So we turned it back on. Now we're sending water to the main supply line right up to the first shutoff valve. Alright, here is step two. We're going to shut the water off at this valve here, and we're going to trap the water in this line here. Now if we go back to the meter and the meter has stopped spinning, we know that the leak is not here. Now if it is turning, that means there's either a leak somewhere in this line, which would mean that it's under this concrete here, or that we have a leaky valve. Let's try that out. Alright, this is the lever for the shutoff valve to the house. This right here is the blue line on the map that we're using. So we're going to shut this down right now, and hopefully the indicator will stop spinning. Let's go back to the meter. Alright, we're back at the meter. As you can see, the indicator is not spinning anymore. That means that the pipe, the blue line on the map that's running from here to the house shutoff valve is absolutely solid. There's no leak. So that line does not have the leak in it. All right, moving on to step 3. Now that we have water flowing from the house shutoff valve, it's going to go into the house and into the irrigation system. This little box right here is my anti-siphon valve. So I'm going to shut it off. So once this is shut off, if we look back at the meter and the indicator has stopped, that means that there is no leak here and here. And by process of elimination, the leak is somewhere in the irrigation system. Let's give that a look. Alright guys, we're back at the shutoff valve for the house. It's in the off position right now. Now the original plan was to turn it on and shut my anti-siphon valve off there, and that way we can check the green lines, this one going into the house and this one going into the irrigation. But the problem is, you can see right here, I got a shop towel. It's leaking right there. So my two options are, and again, I'm not recommending that you do either of these things. If you're not comfortable doing this, consult a professional. But my two options now to test the house line is to replace the anti-siphon valve or to cut the pipe here and cap it. And I don't even know if that's going to hold. Now, the reason you need an anti-siphon valve is if you have an irrigation system, as the water comes through here and goes into your irrigation, this valve here stops water from backflowing into your drinkable water. So I don't have any vegetation left on the property to water. So I think that should be safe. Right now I'm going to elect to cut the anti-siphon valve off and cap it, and I really hope that's going to stop the leak from happening. So once I get this capped, we'll have a look at the meter. All right, really quick, back to the map so we can update it so we can visually see what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to delete the irrigation system and delete this green pipeline on this side. Now I am praying to God that when I turn this valve back on, that indicator is not spinning, because if it is spinning, there's no leak here. We've deleted this line. There's only one left, which is somewhere in the house. And guys, I've looked in all the obvious places. Under the sinks, none of the faucets are running. The toilets are good. I don't see any puddles, which means that the leak is somewhere in the walls, or it could be under the slab, which is really expensive to fix. Let's have a look. All right, we're back. I've got the valve turned back on, so water is now coming down in here. And it looks like that cap is holding. No moisture there. Let's check back at the meter and hope it stopped. Because if it isn't, that means the leak is somewhere in there. Alright, we're back at the meter, and unfortunately, that indicator is still spinning. That means the leak is probably one of the water lines going into the house. The search continues. Well, alright guys, as I've said before, my search will continue to find that little pesky leak, but that's how you use the shutoff valves around your house to isolate each individual water line so that you can figure out which ones are good and which ones are bad. Well, alright guys, this is the ending of the video. Remember, this is not professional advice. I'm not recommending that you do any of this, but these are some suggestions to how to find the leak in your house if you want to try it. Again, I'm not liable for any of the damage that you're going to do. Again, if you're not comfortable trying any of this, please call a professional. Well, alright guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.